Hey everyone, welcome to the State of the Chain for Phantasma Phoenix. This is a big update for us. Like as we all know, it's been quite a while in the making. So we're excited to be in this position. We've been working really hard for quite a while now, and we've got a few updates for you all. And looking forward to doing. Initially, we'll do like a bit of a State of the Chain. So we'll just talk about where we've been, where we've gotten to, and what we're working on right now. We'll talk about the sort of near and future roadmap for Phantasma Phoenix, and we'll talk about One Domain Nation and team structure, and then we're going to do some AMAs at the end.
Sounds good.
Yeah, all right. Do you want to say any quick? I've just talked. Do you want to say a quick hello or any?
No, hi, Bill Petridis, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows me.
Cool. All right. So quick recap from my side. So as you all know, in around February, March last year, Goaty took on the Phantasma Phoenix upgrade, and it's been a bit of a road for us. Like it's been quite a mission, and yeah, we're really happy to have delivered that. It took us a bit longer than we hoped and initially
Yeah,
planned.
let's not do that again, please.
Yeah, um, but look,
I'm glad that I'm glad it's behind us.
I'm glad it's behind us. Yeah. And the thing is, I'll say is like it's not like we're not going to sort of use this time to like point any fingers at people who made mistakes in the past and who are now
It's done.
gone.
It's done.
But what we will say is that I guess like we never asked for this. This was kind of like we started working with Phantasma from the Gertie side. We started working with Phantasma. We always wanted to be the game company, and we wanted Phantasma to do what Phantasma did, and we all sort of like decentralized companies who work together and and sort of all push in similar directions and help each other and grow everything together. What happened, and we've all gotten together and moved on. And one thing I'll say is like in terms of it taking longer than we initially planned. I've said this before in previous videos, but we did have a version of our own. At the time, we were calling it Pavilion Chain. So we had our own version of Pavilion Chain after the first Phantasma outage, and it was always meant to be a more sort of nuts and bolts back end for Pavilion that plugged into multiple chains. So the first intention was to turn that into the first version of Phantasma Phoenix and then just upgrade it more sort of slowly over time. But we ended up making a much, let's say, better, bigger, faster, robust chain than we first intended. So the scope did
Well,
change, and for the good reasons. I think like because of
it's not bigger.
well,
It's streamlined.
yeah. Like what I mean is like the first version that we planned like for the Phantasma replacement was like a smaller version than what bigger than what we intended.
Oh, it's an upgrade, not a full replacement. But yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But
it's
yeah.
been amalgamated.
Yeah, so my point is we put in more work than we intended to do, so like it took a bit longer, but the result is really good. So we're really happy that it's back online.
Mm,
Um,
thank God.
and stable and secure. So I want to talk about that for a second. So yeah, one of the big things, obviously coming out of what had happened, is stability and security. So these were obviously things that had let Phantasma down in the past. And
Predictability,
yeah, exactly. Like,
reliability,
yeah, reliability. Yeah,
repeatability,
yeah.
all those good
Discoverability,
things.
like, yeah, working out what happened
No,
and
all the good things in software. It must be repeatable. It must be consistent. It must be predictable. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, for anyone who look, anyone who plays games on any service or platform, like whether it's like a social media network or like a gaming platform, like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network or Facebook or Twitter, it's got to be online. Like people's accounts and data has to be secure, and it's got to be up. It's got to be online. Like if it goes down, then the service goes down. Then everyone who relies on it is like turned off, right? So you can't do any business with that. So so that was one of our main focuses, and we've done that. We've done a really good job of that. We're really happy with it. So Cool. So yeah, so from the Gertie side, one thing I wanted to say in this state of the chain, is Gertie took over, like, sort of helped out. Let's just say, like, we've been working together with some of the existing Phantasma team, like Bill and Go. But Gertie jumped in to help out with that, and I always kind of referred to Gertie as like temporary sort of stewards or custodians of Phantasma to help it out to get to the next stage, because we had this tech that was, let's say, like the early, what was called Pavilion chain, was always Phantasma compliant, because we've got a good understanding of how Phantasma works. But the intention was always for Gertie to like hand that back to the sort of Phantasma proper, or to the DAO, to the community, and for Gertie to get back to what it does best, and what it does normally, like what it was set up to do. And so that's what I wanted to announce. That's what's one of the things we want to announce in this state of the chain, is that like, we're happy that we've kind of gotten Phantasma back online. It's in a really good state. It's in a good place for it to kind of grow and prosper from here. And then also at the same time, we've been making fantastic progress with our Wonder Man Nation game. We're really happy with that. Like, that's taken its own little twists and turns, and it's kind of ended up in a place that we didn't initially expect. But it's in a really, really great spot. So we're excited to release that, and and the release of that is really close. It's like, kind of, I won't talk about this too much in this state of the chain, because I want to do a Wonder Man video at a later date. And pretty soon, but we're gearing up for release is the main thing there. So we're at a good point now where Phantasma can kind of take the reins back and do its own thing, and I need to be more fully present on the Wonder Man Nation side to get that delivery out and make sure that we've got a great game, we've got the right amount of polish, we've got the right marketing plan and release plan, etc. So that's that. And I guess the next update that I'll make here is that, as a lot of you already know, with the Wonder Man Nation team, our development work on Phantasma Phoenix didn't impact the Wonder Man Nation team, because we have some team separation. And so there are some crossovers. There are always some crossovers on the team, but like the core sort of resource for the Phantasma Phoenix upgrade was Brooke. And Brooke did some work on Wonder Man, some little bits and pieces here and there, but Brooke's core focus was getting the Phantasma Phoenix chain upgrade done. And so as we're focusing on the Wonder Man Nation release, Brooke doesn't have that much work on Wonder Man, and let's say would be a great resource for Phantasma. So so Brooke's going to be from now, or from like last week. Brooke is essentially from last week. Yeah, Brooke's essentially joined.
No, Brooke's full time.
So Brooke's joined the Phantasma team. So that's the current state of that. So we'll see what happens there in future. Like, in terms of like Pavilion and 22 and our other games, that's something that we're going to come back to at some point. But the first things first is Phantasma Phoenix needs to get all of its features and stuff back online, and that's what we'll talk about as part of the roadmap stuff here. And we need to get Wonder Man Nation out, so we're just focusing on those two things first, and then we'll be addressing the other things after that.
Primarily, my focus at the moment now is to take over the coordination of all core development. There's been a successful amalgamation of the team members and a clear delineation of responsibilities. We now have 4 capable resources. You might know some of them: Alex, Paul, Brooke, Vlad. Look, we've got the necessary resources working full-time on the core development, and I'm coordinating all of that. And I'm confident, well, from what I've seen, especially in the last week, the velocity has just increased tenfold. So I'm extremely confident, and I'm really happy with the progress, and really looking forward to, the subsequent iterations and releases that will go with them as we bring this thing back online. But like, the amalgamation of teams has been great, and it's been very cohesive. So things are going well.
So coming up, we've got a few cool things coming up in terms of games for Phantasma. So
Yay!
yeah, so we've got so obviously like Gertie has a lot of games in the back catalogue and there's things in the works, but we also wanted to put this again like sort of back more so in Phantasma's hands and the community's hands. So we've come up with a cool roadmap for getting the community activated and getting games released. So the first one of those is we're going to be running, or say we, but like they're going to be Phantasma. I'll be handing this back, but Phantasma is going to be running a game jam. So that game jam is going to focus on the functionality that Phantasma has at the moment. So it's going to be like it could be multiple things because there's going to be more updates coming along. But yeah, focus on features that can be delivered with Phantasma's token at the moment. So that can be Soul and Cacao, and that's the details of the game jam is going to be rolled out, but essentially that's going to be available to both industry and students, and they're going to be two competitions essentially for both groups of people. And there's going to be a marketing sort of comp involved in that as well. So there's going to be rewards for people who to make games, publish them on Phantasma, and for promoting it like an influencer kind of campaign. So that's the first thing that's going to be rolling out very soon. So that's going to be the first one that rolls out.
You could call it the fungible jam.
I like it.
No.
No, that's kind of pretty good. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The second thing is going to be a launchpad initiative. So that's again giving more power back to, or giving sort of not even just more power, but giving sort of like the decision making process back to the community. So open for anyone to pitch a project to go into the launchpad, and then they can set their own. So obviously like a marketing kind of pitch for what the game is, but then they can set their own funding targets, set their own milestones, and all of that sort of stuff. So the cool thing about that, and we'll talk about this in relation to the chain updates, and we'll come back to the roadmap with Bill in a second. But this will be a launchpad for games that are using the more core on-chain features that are very specific to what makes Phantasma Phoenix special. And one of those is going to be the NFTs, which are so fast that they can essentially run on-chain. So the game can be a fully on-chain game with NFTs and tokens, and run in real time using NFTs. So yeah, we'll talk about that more in a second, but that's going to be a launchpad that focuses more so on really tapping the specific cool new features of Phantasma Phoenix. And then the third thing after that would be releasing more of the complex games that we have, like the AAA games that we have in our catalog. So yeah, a lot of those already. There's been some stuff going out about Race Hub, and I think we've talked about Ascent a little bit. So there's a few games in the catalog. We've got other people who want to, who previously wanted to publish with Gertie and with Pavilion Hub, which all got paused because of the chain status. So once all of those features come back online and we've got everything up and running, those things can start to roll out as well. So yeah, so the general rollout is going to be the game jam first, followed by the launchpad, taking advantage of Phantasma Phoenix features, which we'll talk about, and then the AAA games.
I've also, just on a side note, I've got to reconnect with Semcore. I'm actually talking to David on Thursday because they've been sidelined during all this. So yeah, he has a lot of ideas. So I'll be quite interested to speak with him and find out what they got brewing.
Yeah, and there'll be more projects as well, right?
And he's always up to something. So
yeah, cool. Yeah,
he's got a lot of contacts that I do not have.
Yeah, and there's already been some ideas floated around for the games that could be launched in the launchpad, and they're honestly pretty killer already. So, and that's just kind of based on our sort of more inner circle conversations. But this is going to be a community funded, community activated, launchpad. So yeah, so any submissions can come in. So yeah, it's a really good chance for Phantasma to lead that, and for more projects to come in as they see that Phantasma is back online and functioning and working great, etc. So yeah, maybe this is time to go into the roadmap and talk about some of the features about Phantasma specifically.
Yeah, do you want to cut to core development?
Yeah, so I just stopped recording, so I'll start a new recording so you can talk about it. Let's do that. So now we'll switch over to some of the core development stuff, which Bill is going to be talking about.
Yeah, I'll talk to that, given that I'm coordinating it all now. like I said before, the team is quite cohesive now, and velocity's been great. We'll be publishing a full roadmap that obviously will be subject to change if need be, because we do need to remain nimble and agile. But at this point in time, and what we're working on in this current sprint is the restoration of tokenomics. So that includes retrospective awards for Soul Masters, things like inflation, all the tokenomics features that were paused are going. We need to restore those. They have to come back. So that's our primary focus in this current sprint. So that's there. Second, once that's been delivered, will be the core NFT functionality necessary for the imminent game releases that Garth talked to before. So that needs to come back online. After that, our plan is, obviously these sprints will, they move and they're living, breathing things, but public contracts should be the next sprint after that. Then voting primarily for the ongoing tokenomics. So it would be one thing. It's one thing to bring all the tokenomics back, but then also we want the community to be able to vote in a decentralized way as to, okay, well, what are the ongoing tokenomics, how they're going to function, what's going to govern them, so on and so forth. So we want to move away from a situation where there's a small group of people making all the decisions, and that has to stop. It's going to stop. So yeah, obviously to do that we need voting. It's something that's been promised forever, never delivered. We're going to deliver it. Lastly, we want to disseminate block producers. This will achieve decentralization. It also removes any potential for, a bad actor to cause detriment. And it finally will get to the point that we always wanted it to be. We never wanted this thing to be centralized. So that's the current state of things. But we'll be publishing a roadmap. It'll be on the website, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning that the chain at the moment is actually quite in terms of nodes. It's quite decentralized already in terms of like stability.
True.
Like, yeah, we have like a lot of nodes that we have like a mix of bare metal nodes in different locations. And
the operation of them.
Yeah, and we have some online like cloud-based nodes. And yeah, as everyone's seen, they've been fast and stable. So yeah, but for the first rollout of that's stuff that's controlled by us directly, like by the Phantasma group, because that makes more sense in this early rollout. Obviously, you start there and then you kind of expand out. So yeah, so it's not just like one node running somewhere. We've got really good redundancy and really good fallback.
Mm-hmm. Should I talk to what we're doing? So look, the tokenomics restoration, there's been a few questions that have come up. I might address a few of them that were in the submissions. Now, thanks to everybody for making the submissions. We appreciate the feedback. We need to make KCAL great again. That's been something that's come up a fair bit. So, look, as part of it, the core development team and operational teams are of the opinion that there probably should be a halt to the minting of new crowns. That's not going to affect the existing crowns. But then also the relationship of rewards needs further review. So as part of the voting, and when I mentioned before that we need people to vote on the tokenomics, we'll be conducting a DAO vote of, on what the capabilities of existing crowns will be going forward, and how we approach the minting of crowns. If, we're of the opinion that we need to halt it, but we're going to open that up to a community vote. We'll also be increasing the transactional cost of KCAL. So there's a lot of questions in the submissions about, okay, well, what are we going to do about KCAL? Obviously, transaction costs are too low. Look, we've had some numbers fly around. Initially, it'll be a fixed amount that will open up to a community vote. We need to act quickly on this one, so that might not be a DAO vote, but we'll come up with something. It'll be on the website. You'll vote on it. We'll get the votes. We'll make the changes. The eventual plan for KCAL will be to actually peg it to the actual cost of transactions corresponding to dollars. But we want to, look, that can't be achieved successfully until the BPs are disseminated across communities and partners, and we know where they're operating, so we can factor the energy costs into the equation. So that's the eventual plan. Now we will be burning some KCAL as well. The exact amounts I need to go around the tables, but the team, as part of having large amounts of SOL, we inherited an exorbitant amount of KCAL. So look, I'm of the opinion that we need to burn that, or not burn all of it, but burn a portion of it. So I think that answers a lot of the questions that were posted as well. Now, in regards to NFTs, I want to talk a little bit more about that, because we've made some significant enhancements, which really, Garth talked about the speed, but like, how do we get there? It's one thing to say, yes, NFTs are at a, AAA in-game transactional level speed. Okay, if you say you're playing Fortnite and you pick up a gun or something like that, that speed, it needs to be that fast. Now, but how do we get there? So previously, the NFT standard of Phantasma, which was highly functional, we coined it smart. So we still have smart NFTs, but the thing with smart NFTs is there's so much packed into them that they can essentially do everything. Unfortunately, when you execute anything linked to a smart NFT, you have to go through all that computational logic, which is quite slow. So what we've done is, and it's similar to how Ethereum now has EIP 1559, I hope I got that one correct, where they've split it out. So we have a whole bunch of different types of transactions for NFTs, like simple things. Do you have the NFT? What's the gas cost? I'm just trading a single NFT. We've broken it up into singular functions that we've identified should be what gamers need, given that we implemented them for the games that we're building. So we're highly confident that these transactions and these functions are going to be conducive to future game developers. Look, as a result, in splitting it up the way that we've done, and look, all of this is documented and will be easily consumable, but benchmarks where they're 100 times faster than the previous format. Let's keep going about the new NFT standards, because it's really exciting. So in splitting it up, what we want to do is we want to, of the opinion that we'll tweak gas fees to encourage dApps and wallets to switch to these smaller type transactions, aka you only call what you need. So, for example, some of the calls might be you just want to update the RAM, or you just want to check the gas costs. So some of these should be taxed, some of them shouldn't. and that will incentivize developers to use the individual functions. Now, that being said, the smart NFTs are still there, but they're fat. So that's what we'll be doing. Another really exciting thing that we've built into the new NFTs is token creators can specify a database schema that can be used for the ROM and RAM of their tokens. It's going to give them developers so much more flexibility as to what is in the ROM and RAM. Now, previously, when we added Tome, it forced people into a really generic, almost binary way of defining the ROM and RAM, and it wasn't particularly user friendly, I would say, and also not particularly functional. So, look, a lot more flexibility, a lot easier, and yeah, we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and
So,
look,
that's some of the new things that have come out.
yeah, and it kind of goes back to like some of our sort of foundational things that we needed from a blockchain for gaming is like, any blockchain that's used for gaming shouldn't be worse than its Web 2 equivalent. Like it shouldn't be slower, more expensive or anything. Like it should be like that plus. So having the ability to mint NFTs for like near free and move them around really fast and do like NFT gaming on chain in real time. We can kind of go into some more stuff about like what can be done there. I think like with Bill, you and Brooke can kind of talk about that stuff
I
more in future. But like,
think that needs a dedicated video just to talk about exactly what having a database schema built into the NFTs really means and how that translates to games.
yeah,
We might even do a real time. I think that that's definitely in order
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
there's so much there to unpack. Um, One thing also, and I don't know whether we talk about it now, but everything in the Phoenix upgrade, we wanted to get away from a situation where everything was knee jerk and reactive. It's been an upgrade that has been developed per specification, aka the developer sat down and wrote the specification first. We reviewed the specification, all the requirements, and then it was built. We didn't just start building things and then tripping over ourselves. What that means is because it was written to specification is we have documentation. So that'll answer a lot of the questions later. Will there be documentation for developers? Will it be consumable? How easy will it be for people to pick up and start using it? Well, the answer is quite easy, well documented. We will be breaking up. Obviously, you can't just put the whole. Well, we could put the whole specification out, but we'll be breaking up the specification into smaller, more consumable chunks that are targeted to specific functionality. We're confident that that will allow, really reduce the steep learning curve that we had before. It was more to Garth's point. Moving or using blockchain as part of your development shouldn't be worse than what you were doing before. It should be, easy or easier than what you're doing before.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And look, I think one thing that's really important. I guess we can talk about carbon linear in this as well, but one thing that was really important for us as we were developing this stuff and testing it with our carbon linear network, which is like our test net, is everything is about sort of keep it simple, stupid. Really, like it's kind of like the whole like any good database or blockchain or game. You don't want it sort of over engineered and over bloated. It needs to do what it needs to do effectively, efficiently, and quickly. And you don't want any added code base that isn't required. And as well for the security kind of point of view, having it sort of like having the sort of engineering sort of spec be really clear and simple and easy to read means that you just kind of get that extra level of not just like security from a developer point of view, because everyone on the team can understand the spec. It's all really clear. Everything's really transparent. But then from a developer point of view, like reading that yourselves and then interacting with that is way simpler. Like you don't need like 10 years of an engineering degree just to try to get this complicated system into your head. You do it well, you do it simply.
Yeah. If it hurts, you're probably doing it wrong. Uh, as a result, and this talks about, there were some questions about benchmarking and so forth. Even with our unit testing and stress and volume and functional testing, with all the logging, all the debugging, all the analytics enabled, which obviously adds to the overhead of running it, we were still achieving, 2,500 transactions per second, and that's with all the logging turned on. So we're going to do another fresh round of testing on the Carbon Linear testnet. Look, we're really confident that we can get to 8,000, maybe more. But look, we're going to conduct that full test in a production mode, which has logging, but it doesn't have all the debugging and all that sort of stuff. So, running in a production mode, we're going to run a full range of benchmarks, and we will publish that. And we look forward to sharing that.
Yeah, I'll kind of.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how fast we can get this thing to go.
Yeah. Same. I think it's probably going to be faster than we even expect. Because I'll put it sort of in sort of more general terms as well. Like the chain's currently running what Windows would call like safe mode, right? Where everything's as sort of step through safe and secure as possible to make sure that everything is absolutely stable, and that while we're kind of rolling this out, we've got absolute oversight as to what the chain's doing at every single little point. But then, once we have some more time with it, we're looking at it, we're making sure it's doing everything that we want it to do, and everything's like absolutely as robust as we expect it to be. Yeah, then you can start like turning into fast mode.
Yeah, we're running it in debug mode for all intents and purposes. For anyone that knows coding, you put something in debug mode. You do stack dumps, all that sort of stuff. We're running in a really bloated manner, purely so that we can have that real, lower level view of what's going on. And even with all that, we're still getting really, really fast results. So
yeah. I think it's already. I mean, maybe stop doing that, Bill. It's like kind of making noise in the. I think.
I like my ball.
That's all right. We all like your ball, Bill.
The bouncy ball. Yeah.
Gosh, what was I going to say now? Yeah. So I think I was going to say, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I feel like with the new Phantasma Phoenix running in safe debug careful mode, it's already faster than the old Phantasma. Is that right?
Significantly. Yeah.
Yep. And there's more to come.
And look, I hate to, dirty laundry here, but we never really published any. We made claims previously about transactional speed, but we never actually published lower level proper diagnostic benchmarks. So that's what we're going to do. I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Same.
Really want to see how fast we can get this thing.
Yeah, same. There's a question about that. I guess we're kind of maybe jumping back and forth here a little bit, but people had a question about when can we do those speed tests and etc. So I think the plan would be to obviously just the roadmap is the number one priority. We don't have to worry about speed tests, and so that's really good for marketing, and it's really good for later performance for games. It's not the priority right now, but I think the first version of that would be we spin up another testnet. So it's on Carbon Linear Labs or whatever. We spin up the fast, release version there, fully optimized release version there. We do some speed tests. We could put that data onto the website and have it sort of just spamming transactions to do basically a speed run. So yeah, there probably will be a marketing version of that, and that's also another sort of testnet thing to make sure that that's getting the speeds you want and it's all running nice and safely, and then that can be brought over to the production live version.
Yeah, it'll be live too, so you'll be able to monitor. You'll be able to view it. Should be pretty cool.
Yep, cool. Should we get into some more of the AMA questions, Bill?
Yeah, sure. Let's jump straight in.
I'll do a little stop and start on the recording. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. So, do we want to jump? Okay, we're jumping into the questions now.
Yeah, let's do some AMA questions. Maybe the quick first statement here is that there was a lot of questions given to us for the AMA, and we probably won't get through them all in this video. So we'll go through some of the most sort of like key pertinent issues first here, and then some of this stuff can come in a follow up as well.
Yeah, well, look, we're going to have to do subsequent ones of these, and we'll have to do them more frequently. Obviously, we've been pretty snowed under, so now that we have a little bit more breathing room, we can do these more frequently and address every one of these questions. And we're really thankful that people posted them, in detail. So, look, there's a lot of questions about roadmaps. I think we've covered that already, right?
Yeah. So
We have our core development roadmap, which we'll publish.
Yeah. So there'll be more information coming up about roadmaps and marketing. Yeah, a lot of questions about like what's going to be done when and how you're going to roll this out. So that will come. Plus, also, I think I addressed that with the like the game jam and launchpad AAA games. Like that will be a part of the marketing as well in the roadmap.
Yeah, I'd like to think that I've already addressed what the the core development roadmap is. So
Cool.
we're going to stick to that, and we'll advise if that changes.
Yeah, cool. Got a couple of questions, or there's a few questions, but a couple of questions about Wonder Man and when it's releasing and beta access, etc. So I mentioned before that Wonder Man is going to be my primary focus from now. We have to get that released soon. Our plan is to get it released. So it's in a really good state, and we're kind of targeting. I'll do a follow up kind of AMA with the Wonder Man community and with Raz. But for now, what I'll say is we are targeting an imminent release, and the game's in a really great state. The beta campaign will restart, and that will roll out, and then we'll do the creature rollout, etc., as I've said before. But yes, that is very soon. We're just in the final stages of preparing that release, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, anyone that interacted with even just like the small pinball, which is just a mini game as part of it, just see the level of polish that's gone into it. It's really exciting. It's good, it's good timing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe I will say like a tiny little bit more. It's Wonder Man's been one of those rare games you work on. Sorry, just a little bit, but it's one of those. Yeah, I can't. Sorry, it's one of those rare games you work on where it like you aim for here and then it kind of gets to that level and then you find a new level and the fun just like keeps on growing. It just keeps on getting like, yeah, you know when you play it, but like it's really surprised us. We've hit levels of fun that we never sort of anticipated in that form. Like I'm keeping it slightly vague, but like it's exceeded our expectations. Let's just maybe say it that way. And we've got some really cool content coming out. Like anyway, you'll see.
I just love how the some of the wacky things that the developers have said along the journey have made their way into the captions.
Yeah.
Just odd things people have said.
Yeah. There's a lot of funny all throughout. Like again, I've said this I've said this in Wonder Man AMAs, but there's a lot of personality and fun in the game. It's been really fun to work on. It's fun to play, and that sort of fun just comes out in the end result. So we're pretty excited to release it.
Can Bill briefly talk about his mentality change in the last pool period, about being loquacious in the community, too quiet during this pool period? Well, I can answer that pretty simply, as in my efforts are best spent coordinating core development and not being in chat rooms and being everywhere and nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. We have capable community managers. That's their role. I communicate frequently with them. I don't think, yeah.
Yep, that's a good answer.
That's my answer for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the truth. That's what I've been doing. So.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I'll kind of add to that. One thing I've kind of said in a number of things is like, if you're a developer, then when you're typing stuff, you should ideally be developing. You should be writing code or organizing the production team or whatever it is, like doing that communication. And then you got your admin team who can take care of the community administration. Like that's the role. So
Yeah, if you're in Discord and you're not in Visual Studio, it means you're not doing your job.
I mean, it is kind of nice to have those little touch points. That's not saying you can't ever go into the community, but like, I mean, if your job is a developer, like develop, and then occasionally go into the community and talk. But like, you don't be doing that 24/7 because you need to get your work done as well. Some questions about Kcow.
I think we addressed those.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, look, I'll just rehash some of it, but it's of our opinion that we should halt the minting of new crowns. We'll be increasing the Kcow fee. We'll be pegging it to real world energy levels. We'll be burning a significant portion. How will it ever become useful? Well, it's useful right now. You need it to do anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and as more projects release and we do the game jams and do the game launch pads, etc.
Yeah, it'll become more valuable.
Yeah. And again, like that's why we need to focus on releasing Wonder Man and releasing other projects. Like Phantasma can't just make Kcow useful on its own. It needs, it can do stuff, right. but then added to that is like games and apps releasing on Phantasma, which just adds more and more use cases. So,
well, it's there to facilitate functions, right? But you need things, performing functions for it. If something's if something's functioning, then it is useless. But as soon as things are actually functioning again, which is imminent. It becomes useful again.
Yeah.
More useful, more valuable. And then, you tie that in with the other things that I've said. I'm pretty confident that we can make Kcow great again.
Yep. So there's a question about bridging, token bridging.
Yeah, we need that back.
Yep.
But it's not... Unfortunately, there's only so many things we can do in a given period of time. But yes, it is on the roadmap. It is something that we will do. It's something that we need to do. How and when? Stay tuned, because I don't have a definitive answer at this point in time.
Yeah.
It is, and I agree with you. It is more important than adding another centralized exchange, because it opens up the door to decentralized, where we had really good pools on Pancake and Uniswap until things went pear-shaped. So, yep.
Yeah. I'll kind of maybe quickly add because this is an interesting point for games as well. Like for Phantasma to have access to more liquidity on other
that too.
Yeah, for Phantasma itself to have more access to more liquidity on other chains and have a way for no exchange can just exist in its own ecosystem. Like all these exchanges, need to be able to sort of bridge each other. So that's a big part of it for Phantasma, but then also for Wonder Man Nation. So for Wonder Man, we're doing the same thing where we're making sure that we can, like separately from Phantasma as well, that we can bridge with other chains and other tokens.
I should add to it as well. Semcore released an NFT bridge. So people that bought the original Kevin Smith NFTs could bridge them across to, Polygon, so they could put them out on OpenSea. And vice versa, put them, swap them back.
Yeah, it's cool.
Having an open chain that can interact with anything is, it's definitely our goal. And it's something they delivered. So, we need to do more of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So Phantasma chain and the projects on it. Yeah, that's the focus all around. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. I There's a question about
Kekal.
we answered the Kekal ones. There's a question about the speed of the chain. We've addressed that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question from Philip about the chain being fixed and going back to public community hands. What does this mean specifically? So what this means specifically is, Godey's been sort of the caretaker steward of Phantasma, but we never intended or wanted that to be like on our plate. We want to make games. So we're handing this back. So essentially, Phantasma, as of now, is taking over control of the project, and that means doing DAOs and getting the community feedback for features that the community want.
So opening up the direction to the community, so the community can dictate based on popular vote, what happens next. But it also means disseminating the block producers to partners and creators and people that have been staking and so forth. We don't want to be running all the block producers. It's not part of what we want to do. So that's part of it too. Is disseminating those block producers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. That's a pretty good answer.
We're not relinquishing control, but we kind of are.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, things that get voted on, I'm still going to have to coordinate the development of them. But I really want more community development as well. So as this better documentation and more consumable, as this becomes more consumable and easier for developers to adopt, it opens the door for more community development. That's what I want to focus on, and we'll incentivize too. There's questions about how will the SOL and the inflation be used. No, it's not just going to be used to be sold. It's going to be used to be allocated to people that want to contribute and add to this chain going forward. That's what it was always there for. That we had Phantom Force. It was meant to be to fund community developers for the growth of the chain.
Yep, exactly. And not just rely on Godey games. Like ideally we're one of many, and Yep. That's probably a good segue into another question. There's a question about off the grid.
That's awesome.
Actually, the question there is like, how will Phantasma? Okay. Do you want me to read it, or you read it?
No, I was just saying I play Fortnite with my son. It was quite interesting. He's 6, and he's got all these skins, and he's like, "How come I can't sell any of these?" I'm like, well, that's what we're trying to do. But I was quite excited when I saw that off the grid. I think it's fantastic, and this is why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so the statement in question there is like, Web3 is finally seeing a AAA title off the grid, which stimulated interest and resulted in 10 million wallets being created. Mm-hmm. This is amazing for the space! ! How will Phantasma reshape their strategy to recover reputation that will raise them to be a market leader? Thank you for the hard work to get the chain back online! !
Well, we need to get the games on. We need our own games as well. So.
Yeah, and look, a kind of transparency here too is like a part of it's rebuilding trust, right? So, it's hard to get games to launch on Phantasma after it's been offline in the past, right? So, unfortunately, what happened has happened, and we've got to sort of rebuild that stability and that trust, and sort of stay online and keep on developing, releasing features, and then like doing game jams. So, in terms of recovering a reputation, we have to keep on releasing games, releasing updates, stay online, stay secure, stay stable, and tap into users and tap into liquidity. That are also really big points. Again, I maybe mentioned here, like it's, with off the grid as an example, it's good for a game because if a game can do well and create sort of and bring in 10 million players for the game, then ideally you're kind of reaching that audience wherever they are, and you're launching on like whether it's on our own platform, Pavilion Hub, or on our own website, or you're launching on Steam or an app store. Like, you want to get your game where the players are, to get as many players as possible. And then if you can tap liquidity through multiple chains and multiple ecosystems, then that will bring users into that ecosystem, which then is also plugged into Phantasma Phoenix.
So. Yeah, I mean, look, I had to look up where Off the Grid is actually back-ended, and it turns out it's on Avalanche. But I had to look that up. But all I read is, when you look at all the articles and all that, it just mentions wallets and blockchain and all. It doesn't actually talk about the actual blockchain. It's kind of where we want to be. I mean, we want all these wallets, and people will organically, if people are playing games, regardless of where they're published and whatever, as long as they're playing them, they will eventually land on the back end.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you don't play a game and sort of have it advertised like running on Amazon, like use this because it runs on Amazon. It's kind of, from a game player's point of view, it's like, is the game?
Yeah, we're hosting it on AWS, and our database is Oracle DB.
Yeah, you don't talk about it. Like,
no one cares.
It's kind of a good way to turn a player off. It's like, like, why are you throwing technology? No, just
okay. Cat attack. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, for a gamer, like, if the game's good, they're coming there to play the game and get them in the game, and cool, that's all that matters.
Yep.
From their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
This question about Carbon Linear, we kind of talked about that before. Carbon Linear, what is that?
It's where we it's where we test core features before they get merged into the Phoenix.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep. Yeah, so all of the stuff that we'll be doing, I mean, it's subject to change, but like all the stuff that we intend to do with the Launchpad, where people can launch their games and ask the community for funding and get the projects made that the community want, that would most likely probably be working with Carbon Linear Labs version, where we can sort of fast iterate these things and add features and be really dynamic and responsive, and then those features merge into Phoenix. Because you don't want to be doing all of that stuff on your production, like your live release server. I've got a question. This one's, I think for me, it's like a lot of Web3 companies fail because they run out of money, and it's kind of about like, when's Wonder Man going to release, etc. So yeah, I mentioned this before. So we're like at the pointy end of releasing Wonder Man Nation. I haven't put a public date on that yet, but internally we're like cat attack, kind of like fluff attack.
I'm like Dr. Evil now. $1 million. $1,000. Should we get the accountant on the line?
Yeah.
Look, you're sufficiently resourced to deliver what's been promised. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, and a big thing again in terms of the focus for Godey and the focus for Phantasma. Like, Godey is handing back the chain development to Phantasma, so that gives me the opportunity to step away and focus on Wonder Man Nation. Like, I've been doing Wonder Man Nation 100%, but then I've also been doing other stuff like 10%, 20%, 30%. Like, it adds up to like way too many hours for me. And I've been doing big days and I don't know, stretching myself thin to manage it, but obviously if I can just focus on doing Wonder Man Nation 100% and delivering that, which we will, then we're going to hopefully do an even better job. So yeah, and that is coming soon. So I guess the main thing you need me to know, if you have Wonder tokens, you'll be able to use them very soon to play an awesome game.
Can I touch on how big is our dev team? Can you please list a bio on the website? Okay, we'll put bios up. Look, we have 5 core developers working full time on this stuff, so we have enough people to deliver what we need at this point in time without also, it's that whole gestation period. You can't throw, geez, it's the old analogy, you can't ask 9 women to contribute to a baby and get it done in a month. It doesn't work that way. Anyway, so we've got sufficient resources to deliver without stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah. It's a really capable team.
But look, we'll put the buyers on the website. I mean, there's not one person in the dev team that doesn't have at least 20 years worth of software experience. So I think we're okay.
Yeah, really good. I think the current team is worth, I don't know, yeah, like it's worth more than 20 average developers kind of thing. Like really, really pro senior developers. Yeah. If you've worked in software, you'll understand. Yeah, and it's a very, very good team. Another question seems to be related kind of at Goaty. So like how much we're focused on Soul rather than our own native games. I mentioned it before. So like that's splitting out. We've been focused on both. So we had essentially two teams. I've said this in many Wonder Man Nation AMAs. Our work on Phoenix, like our development team work on Phoenix, didn't affect Wonder Man Nation or the other way around. It did affect my time. I just had to work more hours to be across both. But now I'm focusing solely on Wonder Man Nation, which means I can finish work at a decent time and hopefully be more rested for my next day at the office. So that's all looking really good. There's another question. This is our last question that we've earmarked here, Bill.
Yeah, I think. Oh, look, there was one there about token inflation and all that. Yeah, there is going to be inflation. It's going to be redistributed for the growth of the chain. It's not going to be liquidated. So I think there's this concern that we turn tokenomics back on and then inflation kicks in and we get all these tokens and we just dump them. No, not going to happen. It's going to be used for things like the game jam. It's going to be used to increase the development pool. It's going to be used to grow the chain
for marketing, etc.
Yeah. For allocation of partners. We've got celebs that jump in. You've seen it before. That's what we want to get back to.
Yeah.
Last question
maybe just because like bookending what you just...
That's a concern that if inflation kicks in, we're just going to sell all the tokens. No, it's just, no.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, bookending what you sort of said is, like, if you think back to where Phantasma got to before, like, the events that were done, we had fantastic projects and fantastic momentum. Like, those projects still exist. They're all still there. They're all waiting to be like, turned back on.
Sidelines.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything stopped it, so they're all there and they can be sort of turned back on and reactivated. So one step at a time. Like that won't be like all next week, but like, that's all there. So
on the sidelines and getting increasingly frustrated. So that's something I have to deal with. Anyway, we're nearly there.
Cool. Are there any other questions you wanted to address, Bill? I think we've kind of gone through the main ones.
I think the last one from Kurt was any plans for community funding DAO voting? Yeah, there is. For inflation allocation. Yeah, I mean, we want DAO voting for tokenomics, period.
Yep.
Because we it's not for us to dictate terms or, set the standard by which, it all gets judged. It's not shouldn't be up to us.
Yeah.
Should be up to the community.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Phantasma Phoenix needs to deliver the core features and get everything working. But then, the community of players and developers and holders all get a say.
Ironically, that was always the plan. If you go back to the original white paper, it was always what it was supposed to be. So, look, in a nutshell, we're getting the chain that was always promised.
Yep. Or even better than, I think, like with, because that was like back in 2017. There's been new learnings. So
Yep.
So the new stuff is going in. I guess like future talks can like future state of the chains and AMAs can talk about like what a fourth generation blockchain is and kind of what has been delivered, but that can be covered later.
Yeah, and I also want to do a deep dive into, what's exciting about the new NFTs, because there's so much to unpack. Oh, but I already said that before.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
right.
Look, like I said, we've got the breathing room in Headspace now to be able to do these more frequently. So, which is a good thing.
Yeah, cool, man. All right. Well, I mean.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, cool. All right, so yeah, okay, so we'll end it here. A quick recap is just that we've got a very secure, fast, stable chain online already. The new tokenomics are coming in. That's the biggest priority. That's what Bill and the team are delivering.
Yeah, we've got tokenomics, core NFTs, public contracts. Then we'll be implementing voting, and then disseminating the block producers. That's our core development run sheet.
Yeah, cool. From the Gertie side, the priority for us now is getting One Man Nation, which is an awesome game, released to everybody, and we're working on that. That's very, very close. I'll be doing another AMA with Raz on that soon. I don't know if I'll do a gameplay release, like a gameplay teaser. We might just like let that sort of fall on the community once we release it. We won't tease it. We just let it dump. Let it drop. Let it out there. do a mic drop with it. What else is there? Sorry.
Ascent.
Well, yeah. Leading up to that, so we've got the game jam coming up. So that will be announced through the community. So the admins and the mods will kind of get that detail out soon. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, there's going to be an industry and a student track of that, plus a marketing sort of reward system. So hopefully some really, really cool game jam games can come out. Following that, the launchpad, which should be very cool. That's using like the very advanced on-chain NFT for gameplay features. And then after that, all of the AAA style games that you all know about, and more. So yeah.
I'm also reconnecting with Semcore on Thursday. They've been on the sidelines, so I'm interested to see what they've got brewing.
Yeah, and we had, as I kind of mentioned before, we had a lot of momentum with people wanting to get onto Phantasma Chain. People that I knew, that all got halted. So once we've had some things releasing and things are all stable and kind of the momentum's building again, then we can bring those people back and release more stuff. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching the AMA and the state of the chain. We didn't get through exactly every question, maybe exactly to the T, but I think we covered it, and there's more cool stuff to come. So maybe there'll be another AMA, and then definitely some further deep dives into the technology of Phantasma Phoenix and the cool stuff that you can expect it to be doing in future. Awesome. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay. Thanks for watching.
Calling all game devs and creators. Join the Phantasma Phoenix Game Jam, happening August 1st to 29th. Whether you're a seasoned dev or just starting out, bring your vision to life on Phantasma for a chance to win a share of over 100,000 SOL. Build. Create. Compete. Phoenix is your playground.